Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 3, which is entitled as Karma Yoga, Sloka 22. Name Parthasti Kartavyam Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana Nana Vaptam Avaptavyam Varta Eva Cha Karmani. This sloka says where Krishna doesn't have any prescribed duty to perform. Name Parthasti Kartavyam Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana. In this world or in this three world, there's nothing that I need to perform as a prescribed duty. Nana Vaptam Avaptavyam, which means I do not want anything, I don't obtain anything by doing any of these actions. Varta eva cha karmani. By engaging in these things, I don't get anything out of it, nor do I desire anything by doing this action. That's the meaning of this sloka. In the previous slokas, 20, we saw that Janaka Maharaj has been given as an example, ideal example, one who performed karma yoga and became self-realized. Over here, Krishna himself gives as an example. He himself gives as an example one who performed karma yoga. In the Sveteshwara Upanishad, it is said, Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram, Tam Devatanam Paramam Cha Devatam, Patim Patinam Paramam Parastad, Vidhama Devam Bhuvanesha Medium, Natasya Karyam Karnam Cha Vidyate, Natat Samascha Abhyadikascha Drishyate, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate, Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Which means, it says in this Upanishad that Krishna was the supreme controller of all controllers. Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. So, whomever we usually think is Maheshwar, this Upanishad said, it's saying that it clearly says that Krishna is the supreme Ishwar of all Ishwaras, Maheshwaras that we can think of. Next, he is the greatest of all demigods or leaders of various planetary systems. Everyone is under his control and everyone functions under his direction. All the living entities are delegated with particular powers only by Krishna. They otherwise have no power. And Krishna is worshipable by all the devatas. Therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders, controllers, and so forth. And there is no one greater than Krishna. He is the supreme cause of all causes. And his senses that he has can multifunction. Unlike us, there's no difference between his body and his soul. Unlike us, because our body and soul are different two entities. All the senses are transcendental. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence. So from this Vedic statement, also we can understand that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna has no obligation so ever to do anything, any yoga for that matter. But when he appeared in the earth, in various avatars, he was fully engaged in whatever activities is meant for that particular avatar. So Krishna here states that I am the Lord of all, whose desires are all fulfilled. I do not have a governor nor anything to attain anew. So, due to Krishna's compassion, Krishna do work as is required in a proper manner. As Krishna incarnated on his own will, though there's no need for him to come and incarnate, but he still does. When he comes, he behaves as if he is bound like a common people of the world, where the common people are tied up by their karma. Krishna acts in such a way, but he sets the action so that he can be an example for common people. Just for the argument's sake, let's see what is the best yoga that Krishna could take up if he needs to do. Namely, there is Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, you can call also Ashtanga Yoga. So if Bhakti Yoga is something that Krishna has to take up, to whom is he going to offer garlands? To whom is he going to offer food and honor that food, prasad? Whose name is he going to chant and dance? There's no one else superior to him. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is not going to be applicable for him. Whereas Jnana Yoga, if we take it, Jnana Yoga is part of Dhyana. So, Dhyana may be lying down in a sleeping pose. He can be meditating on how to protect the universe, how to uplift the mankind, how to destroy the miscreant, how to protect the dharma. This could be his dhyana. But just lying down and keep on thinking, what is the purpose of it? So what is he going to do with Jnana Yoga? Even though he can just do it from wherever he is, just by his desire, sankalpa, he can make things happen. That certainly he can do. So Jnana Yoga is not that he cannot do it. He can do it. But more than that, what he does is, he does things in action. Action means karma. Therefore, rather than lying down and thinking about something, Krishna gets into action, performing Karma Yoga, so that people can understand that Karma Yoga is something that everyone should follow. Do action as prescribed for them. If Krishna doesn't do all the work that he meant to do, all the people will abandon their respective work. Without knowing how great Krishna is, they will not consider the greatness of Krishna. They will take the other aspect of Krishna. Krishna is not doing, therefore, Krishna himself didn't do it, therefore, I don't need to do it, perhaps. Thereby, they will ever be in the cycle of transmigration from one body to other in repeated birth, death, disease and old age. They can never come out of it. In fact, when I was a child, Krishna is saying and thinking, when I was a child, Krishna enjoyed stealing butter. Because of that one simple mistake that Krishna did when he was a child, till today, people are stealing everything except butter. And they're referring Krishna as their leader for one mistake that Krishna did. If I don't do it, people will again point me saying that Krishna didn't do it, therefore I don't need to do it, anything. Usually ordinary people will not look into how even the great man does to follow his duty. Rather, when the great man doesn't follow their duty, the ordinary people will immediately follow that part to not follow their own duties and will stop their activities. Again saying that even Krishna didn't do it, why should we? When Krishna did things, they will not say Krishna did it, therefore I have to do it. But when Krishna didn't do things, they will say Krishna didn't do it, therefore I am not going to do it. That's how usually the ordinary people will take that which is favorable for them to escape from their duties. So, to summarize, in the sloka, one key word where Krishna has told is na me. Me means me, I. So, this word me, which is I, Krishna is pointing to himself, is a very important letter word. I don't need to do it. Krishna is saying, I don't have any obligation to do any of this duty. Why? Because I am Ishvara, of all the Ishvara. Let's see a few points here to summarize what we have seen so far. Those are bound to the Sastras, the Vedic Sastra. Only they have to do their karma. Whereas Krishna is not controlled by Sastra. Therefore, he doesn't need to do karma. Second point, Those who need to clear their unlimited karmas of many lifetime, only they need to do prescribed duty. Whereas Krishna is free of karmas. There is nothing that Krishna had to clear. Hence, Krishna don't need to do any prescribed duties. Third point, those who have taken birth due to their karma, only those people have to do prescribed duties, karma yoga. Whereas Krishna has taken birth out of his own sweet will, not due to the karma he is born. Therefore, he doesn't need to do any prescribed duties. Number 4, those who decide to achieve something in their life, either materially or spiritually, only those people need to do karma. Whereas Krishna have nothing to achieve by doing anything in action. Therefore, he doesn't need to do any karma. And the 5th point, those who have to do certain action, they usually do it to get rid of certain things in their lives. Therefore, they do karma. Whereas in case of Krishna, there is nothing that Krishna need to get rid of. Therefore, he doesn't need to do karma. 6th point is Krishna gave the Shastra. The Shastra doesn't control Krishna. Krishna controlled the world through Papa and Punya. But the Papa and Punya doesn't control Krishna. Krishna liberates people from Papa and Punya. There's nothing that Krishna needs to be liberated from. And since Krishna is Sarveshwara, Supreme Controller, everything has to be done out of fear to Krishna. There is no one that Krishna should be fearful of doing something. That someone is going to punish him if he doesn't do it. That's not the case with Krishna. So these are 9 points where these points states very clearly there is no need for Krishna to do karma yoga, karma. Adding more to this points, Krishna is the one who set karma. Krishna is the one who induced karma on someone. Krishna is karma itself. And Krishna is the one who gives the result of a karma. And Krishna is the one who is Antaratma for the person who is performing the karma in the past, now, or in the future. Krishna is the knower of everything. Krishna is one who just by his sankalpa, just by his desire, thought, he can fulfill anything and everything. With all these points, but still, Krishna says, I do my duties as per the particular avatar. Why I do this? Loka Rakshanam. Loka Rakshanam means what? The protection, to protect the people of this world. Therefore, again, Arjuna, follow your dharma, doing your karma yoga, to avoid incur the sins by leading your followers in a difficult path, which they might not complete it, and you might get sin out of it. And Krishna gave himself as an ideal example. Though he doesn't have any reason to perform any of these things, still he did these things so that he can set an example to the society, to the world. Name parthasti kartavyam trishulekeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta evecha karmani. Namaste. Hare Krishna.